been doing some shopping online, got all these parts coming. I cannot for the life of me find any fairings whatsoever. Bad ones, good ones, nothing. There's just nothing out there for this. So all those fairings will be repaired. We'll have to repair them, fill them, paint them. I'm not a painter. I will not be painting them, but I will do all the prep work. I'll get the cracks filled. I'm going to use a product I haven't used before. Plastics. Seems to be pretty good from what I can see. We'll give it a shot. We'll make up the parts. I've got some plastic fibre to strengthen the parts we need for the nose cone. The pointy part is the most worrying part because it's obviously weaker there. We'll try and do that. So the next couple of things I'll be doing that, we'll be washing up all the parts that we've taken off, cleaning them all up, making sure that they're all okay, and painting that alternator, painting that clutch slave cylinder, and just general tidy up and clean up on the other side of the engine, just to get it up to something that looks like it's actually been loved. Not much else we can do at the moment, just wait for parts. It's always a bit of a drama in Australia because it always takes weeks to get stuff. It's not like it is in the rest of the world where it comes in the next 2 or 3 days. It's always a week or 2 weeks away. It depends on how far it is and how bothered Australia Post could actually be. Anyway, we'll catch up then. What are you doing, you deaf nut? Huh? What? Well, we're painfully waiting for parts. It's been 2 weeks now and it looks like it's going to be another week before they come. What I've done off camera is just cleaned up a little bit, just cleaned the block up a little bit with a bit of degreaser and spray and a little bit of brush. Got the worst out of the areas around the drive cog, cleaned up the seal surfaces and everything for the starter motor and generator, water pump area. Just cleaned it all up. Just giving it a little bit of a spruce and a little quick wash down. I can do that in here with just a little bit of light hose pressure. Water goes onto the bike tray and just collects on the end. I think the next thing we're going to do is we're going to remove the compression there, just to make sure all the seals and bushes are okay, bearings are okay, and we'll determine whether we actually want to remove the swing arm. So basically we'll get the wheel off first, have a look, make sure that the brush rosters are okay in here. We'll get off this funky carbon cover here. It's a aftermarket one. It looks really dull and horrible, but on top it looks kind of shiny, so it might work, it might not. Also, the rear brake disc is a little bit discoloured. It's been hot, and I just want to make sure that caliper is not seized. Pistons are both moving. Brake pads are fairly new. Looks like they might have been done for the roadworthy. And we'll just make sure all the pivots are okay. Just going to remove the covers and the rear wheel. Try not to get in the way too much. working. Just silicone across the front. Cross member on the swing arm. That'll work. It's been there for a while, so it must work. Did not want to come out anyway. I thought it might actually clean up. It looks just really dull. I kind of think it doesn't look right in there, but it might be just because it's dull. Maybe even a nice sand up and some gloss might make it good. So worth a fortune, these things, you know, $300-400 just for that. Anyway, let's put them in the box. Got to lift the rear wheel to get it off it. We've just got straps on the front, so the rear should be come off the ground pretty easily. And there you go. High on that. Draw a socket for the axle. Ugga dugga. Going to back this chain off so to make it easier as well. It's just a giant. Drop the caliper down. Out. Drop the support down, push it out of the way. Now that's solid. Get it forward enough to drop the chain off. Wheel it before we go too far. Seal's been replaced. Bearing feels fantastic. Have a look at these crush washers. Oh, it's there. You can smell the rubber. Brand new, not a mark on them. Bearing's good. Bearing's good. Just put this aside. Drop this wheel off, can be repaired. Both seals are done and bearings have been replaced. Just amazing. Assemble this axle. Put it in the parts washer. It's been all greased and everything, so someone knew what they were doing. Chain is already, we know it's been replaced and that's fairly new. Just undoing some of this compression arm. Bushes. I have no reason to suspect there's anything wrong with them, just that I'd like to make sure that there's plenty of grease in and that the bushes are not gone. Sorry, the bearings are not gone or reached in any way. Any movement there either. I already feel there's no resistance whatsoever in those. this is what we're after. Every one of these little pushers here and bearing. That's a collar. Collar's got no marks in it. On the outside of the collar, you can just see there's a needle roller bearing. That put your finger on, you can feel any grit or any resistance to turning in there, then they're no good. Long collar and another short one. It is the same as the other side, but it has a different ID, so you know, just to make things difficult. I can see each one of those needle roller bearings, and none of them have got any issues at all. What we'll do is we'll wash that as an assembly. It's not worth taking the seals, not worth changing seals, because they're only grease seals. They're not like it's an oil pressure seal or anything like that. Put them back together, put that in the wash tray. Which I'm going to turn on. I don't think it's necessary to take the swing arm out, but I'm going to. The only reason I am is because I can get it clean, proper clean. Really, it's a little bit of a waste of time, but I know that I'll get in there and I'll actually see the bushes myself, and I can put the same grease and have the same wash out of those swing arm bushes as the load arm or the open arm or the other arm. It's in the back of this swing arm, it's pretty grimy. I'll be also taking apart all this. I don't want to disconnect this caliper yet. So I just want to make sure both those pistons are free. What else is out here? I might take all this apart. Make it easier to come off. And it's got a split pin through it. It's got a little safety split pin on the bolt that goes to the stay for the caliper. that'll clean up quite nicely. It's really body on the inside. It's got a little R-clip on this end. Must make it easier to change. Parts washer. There's nothing else attached to the end. A little bit apprehensive about taking this swing arm out because I saw someone do it again on the internet and they weren't able to get it out. So we'll see how we go. I reckon this one will just drop out. 7mm, can't use an impact gun, sorry, an impact socket. It's got a shoulder around it. Nuts off. It is very rusty on this side. Washer is there, the washer's loose. That'll come off. Let's knock this back on. Just protect the threads a little bit. Just enough to knock some splints into it. Sound quite solid. Very solid. It's moving. Yeah, I can see a great big rust here. I'll just grab it and show you. See where I've been knocking on the end of that shaft and all that rust that's come out. That wasn't there before I started tapping. It might have been behind the washer. This is the washer. It doesn't look like it was behind there either. So it's actually come out of where it actually sits into the thing. Well, it's steel on aluminium, so anytime steel is on aluminium, it always corrodes some. Anyway, I'll put you back and we'll get this out. Wow, that is completely corroded and did not want to move. I'm actually glad I did that now. You know, mate. The drift I used is a bit smaller than this pin, so I had no fear of the swing arm dropping or anything like that out of the way. I'll just take the pin out now, I'll just get rid of the stand. Anything else needs to fall off. It's falling out. Might have to take this top of shocker off. Just thought I'd be able to get it right with the old to come out. Swing arms out. Dust caps. Not little, but dust caps. Unfortunately, that does not swing on that pivot. That pivot is inside a steel collar, inside little bearings. So we have collar, and there's no real marks there. A little bit off-colour grease on both ends. That's where that inside there is where the steel pin is grabbing hold of that pin, just rusts. And again, these little rollers moving freely. Go back on, we'll check the other side. I just don't want it to fall apart if and when. Same pin, so yeah, that's alright. This one is clean. I'll bring you closer in a minute to have a look. It's dry, so there's no reason to replace it other than just to lubricate it. It actually says in the manual it's got to be done every 40,000 kilometres. All these pivots have to be re-lubricated. Final pin. Yeah, again, no rivet marks in it. Both needle rolls are fine. Just amputate this chain guard. All this swing up and cleaned up. Oh, little collar then. Thanks for that. You know that was there, it squashes out of shape. But wash up. And we'll put this in a pass washer. Yeah, the top of the shopper is bushed, so I mean it's going to be sort of, there's no bearings or anything in that. I'm not replacing it. Taking it out, I don't know what it's like. Clean it up, put some pressure, make sure the pressure's right in it. And if it goes from there on, you can always change it later. I'm not interested in replacing it now. Okay, let's have a quick look in here. Basically, right where the swing arm goes. And clean up all that mess down there. It's pretty gross. And we can clean the back of the motor a little better. Make sure all the adjustments work on the shock absorber. There's nothing worse than putting all this back in and then finding out that something doesn't work. We're also checking for weld cracks, like, you know. I don't think I'm going to get anything on this, but there have been known cases where, you know, box sections or something are cracked and you won't know it, that type of thing. just grab our parts washer. This is the parts washer I got. It's heated. It's just warming up now. I just use some water-based degreaser in it and some water. It runs off compressed air and the solution. It's not brilliant, but I've never really seen anything that's comparable to the old style of parts washers. But at least this keeps itself clean. Has the window there, which is about good for about 10 seconds, and then you can't see anymore because of all the spray. But it will wash these up enough to give them a good clean up and everything. Now let's have a look at these bushes I was talking about. These are just a rubber seal cap. Obviously it's been sealing, it's been doing a good job. We've got our collar. We take it out. You can't really see any marks on it, but once we clean it up, get a rag. Once we clean up that bearing surface, where the actual bearings sit, there is nothing on that you would say, hey, let's replace that. There is no grooves where the needle rollers sit. There's nothing, and that will clean up and polish up really nicely for new grease. Nothing at all. So that's spotless. Now this is where I'm talking about the needle rollers themselves. These are the biggest ones. Whole bike sits on these little rollers. What I'm doing is I'm not only feeling with my finger to make sure the top surface is okay, but I'm just pushing some pressure on it and I'm rolling it round, and I don't feel any resistance either. Alright, I might feel a little bit of grit now, but that's going to be washed out in a minute. I know on my ZX10 it has a grease nibble back here. I know grease nibbles have gone out of fashion. I cannot feel any resistance on that, and it's the same with the other one. It's the same with the arm here. Get this set up properly. There is no way, looks like a little bit of shine where they've been going. There is not enough on there, or not enough evidence on there to actually warrant any change. And the needle rollers themselves, same thing. Got to get my pinky in it this time because it's so small. A little bit of pressure on it, turn them round, nothing there. A good washout, no rust. It's actually looks pretty good still. Right, and it's still got grease in it. Could have gone for another, 20,000 kilometres without any dramas at all. Same with the seals. Obviously, if the bearings themselves are not rusted out, then the seals have been doing their job. They're only a grease seal. They don't have to be replaced unless once the bush wears out and it starts to move around, then it hammers both ends of the seals. So if you put new bearings in, you press new bearings in, and you put the new collars in and not seals, well, you're just going to get the same effect within 10,000 Ks. The water's just going to get in there and start to grind it out. Wash out all the grease that you've just done and all the good work. So again, it's only a little block seal. It's not like something hugely important. And they're working at the moment. There's nothing wrong with those bearings, so there's nothing to do. I think that took about an hour. It's going to take probably an hour or two to clean up, and then we'll get some grease into it and reassemble it. Nothing really more to do. The swing arm bolt will just Scotch-Brite up. That's no problem. But what I'll do before it goes in, unlike what they did when they put it in originally, is I'll grease it. and that will stop the air getting to the metal. There's metal in this tube. There is nothing else. It's just metal and metal, and stop that corrosion. And it's the same with the holes themselves. I'll just clean them up. Excuse me. And yeah, just put a bit of grease in there. It'll probably wash out eventually, but I'll be okay. Not much else we can do at the moment. Just waiting for parts. Waiting for parts is the worst part about doing anything in your workshop, because you sit around and you wait for 2 or 3 weeks and then forget where you were while you're trying to get everything back together. But there's no reason to get all this swing arm, rear wheel washed up. We'll check on that brake caliper next. Then hopefully the parts will be here for reassembling the engine, and the carburetor kits will be here, and we'll be able to clean those apart, take them apart, clean them up, make sure there's nothing wrong, put them back together and put it all back in, and then we can get most of the engine and the rear wheels already done. Get all that done, we'll have it running, make sure it runs, and then we'll do front shocker seals, because they're going to leak as soon as you go down the road anyway. Brake pads are brand new on the front, and it gives us a chance to clean all that wheel, make sure the calipers are not seized, and get the front forks apart, make sure the adjustments are not seized, and replace those seals.